Buongiorno, buonasera, benvenuti amici. Welcome, my friends. My name is Vincenzo, and welcome to my channel, Fountain Pen Therapy. Well, first of all, I have a confession to make. Let's right from the get-go. Over the years in my fountain pen collecting, I've kind of had some preconceived opinions and with regard to the type of pens and the type of nibs that I like. If you've seen my videos, you will have realized by now that my favorite nibs are stub nibs, italic nibs, cursive italic, larger nibs. I can live with a nice juicy broad, even double broad. And I can even accept a medium once in a while. For example, Kegaloo mediums are nice and juicy, almost broad. Or any other medium nib that gives me a thicker line. I've also grown fond of larger pens. So girthy pens are my favorite. They need to have some size. It just, I feel more comfortable. They give me the writing experience or the fountain pen therapy that I'm looking for. But in the last several months, in my barrage of Chinese pen collecting and purchases, here is my confession. I'm starting to grow fond of fine nibs, believe it or not, and just because of Hongdian. And I'm also grown fond of mini pens, pocket pens. They give me writing pleasure. I've discovered a few, and I'm waiting for one more mini pen to be delivered, and that's the Gravitas, and it's taking a really long time. I don't know what's happening. I think it's stuck in Ireland somewhere or in Vancouver, and it's just not moving when I look at the tracking. But as soon as I get that and I review my Gravitas, I'm looking forward to it because I understand it's a great little pocket pen. I'm going to do a shootout or a kind of the best pocket pens that I have in my collection sort of thing. For the time being, I've reviewed a couple, as you know, and today I'm going to be reviewing this MAJOHN Q1. I've discovered that these pocket pens are just fabulous. They give me writing pleasure, and I want to show you what this little giant can do for us, and hopefully you will agree. So stay tuned. Okay, so here she is, as they say. Isn't that a fabulous looking specimen? I'm just fascinated by these pocket pens, and I guess imagination is the limit, right? I mean, I find this Q1, I call it the giant pocket pen because it's so girthy, and you'll see when I do a size comparison. But take a look at this design. I think it's completely unique. I don't know if Wancher's pocket pen is similar, perhaps, but not this girthy. Take a look at that resin. I like in particular this clear resin because I get to see the mechanism. So let's take a look at it. First of all, the finials are these nice rounded, very deep resin there. Very, very nice. Take a look at that big clip. Is it meant to do anything? Well, I think it can even actually function, apart from the fact that it just decorates the pen very nicely, I think. That center band has MAJOHN written on it or inscribed on it, not the model, which is unfortunate. I like Hongdian because they mark their, they mark their pens, usually on their bands or elsewhere. So especially with all these numbers, you kind of, you lose track of what's what. So this is the Q1. So that's the outside. Now let's take a look at the inside in terms of 1, 2, and 3. So 3 turns to open. And well, the first thing I want you to to notice is that you see that step down there. That's great. I think in all of MAJOHN's demonstrators, they have that, making it such, and I'm hoping it's the same for this one, that when you screw in the pen, it seals it. So this thing can just be inked forever. If it's like my C1 and my C2, I'm hoping it is, we're in business. Because, with that kind of ink capacity, you want to be able to, use the pen whenever you want and not have to go through a cleaning process and, and to try to get it to work again. So that's the first thing I wanted you to notice about the cap. The next thing is that very nice nib. It's a MAJOHN, and I chose a medium. There's extra fine, medium, and not all of the sites offer medium. I will put it on the screen as to which one does. And there's also, I think, bent nib option in some of the sites. I've seen it on AliExpress. I've seen it sold on Etsy, and I believe Amazon has it as well. Now, I'm going to open it carefully here just because I do have ink in it. But what I want you to appreciate is that in addition to a nice build quality, there's an O-ring there that seals this eyedropper. And it's an eyedropper, but it's got some, huge upside there. And I think I just inked all of the screwing mechanism. I'm going to have to take a look at that when I opened it. The nib does unscrew, so you can, clean the pen, so to speak, and replace that nib if you so wish. Now I have one major complaint about that, and I will tell you what it is in a second. So that's the outside of the pen, and that's the nib. Now, amazing enough, because of its girth, I can write really comfortably without it being posted. It just sits there. It just sits right in there, and the girth and the flare here prevent my fingers from slipping, and I can actually write that way. But it does post, and it does give it a little more size when you do post, and it posts comfortably. But I got to tell you, I'm almost more comfortable unposted than I am posted. I don't know why. I think it's the girth here makes it such that my hand is not as, it's not as squeezed as it usually is around a pen. So it gives, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but I think it's because it's so big here, but I could be wrong. But don't get me wrong, folks. It's beautifully posted, deeply posted, not a problem. Okay, unlike my Opus 88 mini pen, which unfortunately gets posted, but it just swings around. It just keeps spinning around. The cap does, which is unfortunate. It makes it unpostable in essence. So that's the pen. Now, my major complaint about the nib is that the P136 MAJOHN has this beautiful 1.1 stub. And I think it's the first stub that in any of these Chinese nibs. And I really like this 1.1. But it's in a nib unit that requires a special key to remove. And essentially, I'm not sure I can put that nib unit in this pen. I have to experiment, and I will let you guys know by the time we get to the writing sample. But if I can't, that means I got to remove that nib and hope that it fits into this unit. And that's just most unfortunate. Why put in this nib unit that requires a key to remove? Just give us just an ordinary nib unit that you can unscrew and unscrew. I will take a look at if I unscrew that, whether or not I can insert it into this one. And which brings me to the fact, and I omitted to mention that amazingly enough, this pocket pen has a number 6 size nib when most of them have number 5. So that's probably the major plus of this pocket pen. So there you have it. And maybe some of you can comment on that and let me know whether or not because I just realized I may not be able to remove that nib unit because I'm not sure I have the key. So I may not be able to show you or comment on that. But if it can't, it's really most unfortunate. But you guys out there, you must have experimented. Let me know. Just write down a comment. I would greatly appreciate it. I think I can ultimately remove the nib just because it's probably just friction fit and, you know, and insert it in the Q1. I'm assuming I can do that, but I'm wondering if the nib unit can be unscrewed from the P36 and put into the Q1. There you go. So that completes my review of the design and features of this pen. There you have it. So what I propose next is that we take a look at some size comparisons and see how this pen measures up. So I've taken out a few of my most recent purchases along with some that I already had in my collection. And I think the first thing I want you to notice is how that girth is. It's almost double the size of any one pen here. I mean, if I even compare it to this Monster, which is just an awful pen, by the way, but it's a fun pen. This JD Big Metal pen, it's even bigger than that. Okay, and I thought this is the girthiest probably pen that I have, along with some of my Rangas. Okay, but there you have it. So it's almost double the size. And certainly in terms of length, it's not the biggest. I think most of these, there's my Opus 88 Mini, my Jinao 82 Mini. Actually, that's not my Jinao 82 Mini. I apologize. That's just a Jinao 82, but I will come back with it, okay, as when we come back with the capped. This is a beautiful pen by, this is the Kegaloo Mini, 316 Mini, which I really like. This is the Kaweco, brass, but in the brass finish, and this is my Twisby Mini. So there you have it, okay? And, okay, I'm back, the same pens, uncapped, and here, sorry, I apologize, this is the Jinao 82 Mini, and this is the pen uncapped. As you can see, the Jinao and the Q1 are approximately the same size, and they're the smallest in the bunch here. But what's fascinating, and I think it's the only pocket pen that I have, and I'm almost certain of this, that has a number 6 size nib. All of these have number 5 size nibs. So I think, for me anyway, that's a big, big, big advantage. So congrats, MAJOHN. Managed to put a big size number 6 nib there. So that's the capped, uncapped, and unposted comparison. And here you have a posted comparison. So you could see that the Q1 takes on a little more size when it gets posted and does beat out the Jinao 82 Mini, but it's not the biggest of the gang, that's for sure, in terms of length. This Kegaloo just sits at the top of the finial, so that explains why it's the longest. And this Opus 88, folks, I don't know how many times I have to repeat this. Look at this. Isn't that just a pity? And on the website they do warn you that it's it wasn't postable before. They made it postable, but so when it gets into your hand and you're writing, this thing spins. Otherwise, it'd probably be my favorite. That and this Kiglu. But there you have it. That's the Post-it comparison. We'll put up the measurement table, and then we'll do a writing sample. Okay, so we're back, and for the writing sample, first thing is the ink. I've decided that for the ink, it'd be appropriate that we use a MAJOHN ink. And in that regard, I have this MAJOHN by the name of, I believe it's Beijing. I'm looking it up as I speak. Yeah, I think it's Beijing Vault or Velvet. 1 second. No, Beijing Talent. It's a red ink. These MAJOHN inks are really, really nice. In fact, I will put a video up here, reference to my reviews of several of these MAJOHN inks. They come in a very nice bottle, very affordable. Not like the old days where these Chinese ink took forever to get to you, and you had to kind of do loops. But now, you can order them. They have some, basic colors, and very nice. So that's the ink we'll use. And in terms of a swatch, here it is. It's the MAJOHN Beijing Talent. As you could see, it's kind of on the pinkish side, or at least there's some pinkish overtones there. It has some shading and even some sheen. So I think this is going to be a very nice fit. Okay, that's the ink. And the journal I'm going to be using today is this. I figure that if we're going to have a pocket pen, we should have a pocket notebook. It's the Nanami's Cafe notebook, pocket book, Tomoe River, paper, and that should give us a very nice sampling of the nib and the writing experience. Okay, so let's start out by posting it and see what this nib does for us. So this is the MAJOHN Q1 Mini Pocket Pen, and I can tell you folks that this nib is absolutely exquisite. So the nib is a MAJOHN medium number 6 steel. The ink is the MAJOHN, and what is it called? Beijing's Talent. Folks, this nib, not much line variation, but smooth and wet. Very constant. I mean, I can't really get too much line variation out of it, but let me tell you, it's just fast writing. Just keeps up beautifully. There's a nice ink too that goes with this pen, but this nib is very smooth. In fact, I'm going to remove the cap because I think I'll feel more comfortable without it. Let me just try. Very smooth, very wet. Oh yes, absolutely. I have better control over, and very constant. Really like that. So this is really, really nice, folks. I'm very happy. Now, what are the likes and what are my dislikes for this pen? Well, my likes, number one on the list, I think, is this number 6 medium nib. I think it is absolutely, it's just perfect. Second thing is the ink capacity in this pocket pen. Enormous ink capacity. You know, if you're going to travel, you don't want to carry your pens, want to have a small pocket notebook and a pocket pen, and you want to make sure it lasts. You know what? This is perfect. It's very well built. And the fact that it has a seal step in the cap to keep this nib from drying, at least I'm hoping that it's the same as with their other demonstrator pens. Those are essentially the likes. Now, in terms of dislikes, and I don't really have any other than the fact that I may not be able to take this 1.1 stub that I find on my P36 and use it on this. And I know they sell these nibs. Can I take the unit, screw it on? I don't know yet. When I went off camera, I made it a point to right away try to, but I couldn't find the wrench. I don't know if Etsy has it or AliExpress, but I will look for it and I will order it. The first thing I will do is check to see if I could switch, because if I can, then I'm going to order a bunch of these MAJOHN nibs because they're just fabulous. Just to give you a demonstration, so really no dislikes other than the fact that, you know, can I use my 1.1 stub? You know, verdict is still out. But look how nice and wet this stub is. It's just very nice. In fact, I'm going to be signing this review with my MAJOHN stub. There you go. So that's my review. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was informative. I hope it's giving you a better idea of what pocket pens are out there. And please stay tuned for that comparison once I get my Gravitas. If you have any comments, if you can answer my question on the 1.1 stub and the switching of nibs, I'd really, really appreciate it. If not, I'm going to try to figure it out once I get my wrench. So that's it for me right now. Enjoy your pens. Get your fountain pen therapy as often as you can, folks. Arrivederci and ciao.